Rarely does the church go into detail about some of the darkest sides of the job, but it's a side that's fascinated Hollywood and everyday people for decades. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, there's many that have their own stories of running in with things that are not quite human, and some of these priests have revealed the truth behind some of these stories. In every culture around the world, regardless of where they arose or what they believed, claims of demonic possession and terrible hauntings littered all throughout human history. Although such claims of demonic entities might seem to be nothing more than the irrational fear of ancient man, in the modern day there continues to be reports and evidence of exorcisms that persist, some of which have led to individuals losing their lives. Believers will say that these cases are real and that the individual is haunted by an unknown entity, while scientists will tell you that demonic possession is a myth that's unsupported by any scientific evidence. Interestingly, many who are attached to the church will tell you that the majority of cases they investigate actually turn out to be nothing, and are in no way connected to demons. There are some cases though that aren't so easy to dismiss. A former CIA agent, Mr. Marrow, recently came forward and told of his story, detailing that Father Martin had passed away after he'd offered to carry out an exorcism on a young girl. Father Martin passed away after a fall, claiming that the entity that was inside the child caused him to fall over. The agent, Mr. Marrow, was close to the case, and has revealed some inside information about what happened. When Father Martin arrived at the house of where the possessed individual was being kept, Mr. Marrow revealed that the family was already there trying to make sense of what was going on. As the priest arrived, the possessed individual walked up to the priest and immediately knew who he was, saying, "So you're Malachi Martin, and you think you can help her?" This told the priest that the girl was no longer in control of her own body, and that whatever was controlling her knew of the father and his intentions. The event took place in 1999, but after this it was reported that the priest was heavily affected by the event, so much so that he was convinced that an invisible force had caused him to fall over, and which led to his passing. The father passed away in July 1999, and was well known throughout the United States. He would turn his back on the church early on, stating that many within the church didn't have their priorities correct, and didn't want to help people, and were more interested in power than anything else. He believed that people within the church were worshipping dark forces, and that groups of powerful individuals had taken over the church, and were controlling people. He said the following about his line of work: "Exorcism can be extremely violent. I've seen objects held around rooms by the powers of evil. I've smelt the breath of Satan, and I've heard the demons' voices. Cold, scratchy, dead voices carrying the messages of hatred." Although some skeptics have labelled the father as a fraud, and have said that these possessions can be easily explained as things like illnesses, to this day reports are still coming in from people and family members who claim that possession is real. Seen as one of the most defined cases of demonic possession, the story of Clara Germanis Selly would go on to be used as a metric of whether or not a person was genuinely possessed by a demonic entity, or merely experiencing severe illness for future exorcists. Clara was a young Christian South African woman born in 1890, of whom was believed to have undergone one of the worst demonic possessions ever documented. At the age of 16, for reasons not entirely explained, Clara was so desperate for any form of control in her life that she made a soul-binding pact with Satan in return for power. This is believed to have been the moment that her demonic possession began. Written in detail by Clara's confessor, Father Horner, and later confirmed by a nun, evidence of Clara's supernatural ability came from her ability to speak any known language, of which she had no previous education, with her able to completely understand Polish, German, French and Norwegian. Another factor that pointed to supernatural powers was that of Clara's incredibly accurate ability for clairvoyance, with nuns claiming that Clara was capable of speaking people's most intimate of secrets without having any previous contact with the person. Upon discovering these supernatural talents, it was believed that a demonic possession was taking place, which forced Father Horner to begin a 2-day exorcism. During this exorcism, the true power of Clara's pact with Satan was made clear. It appeared that Clara had superhuman strength, with accounts of her throwing grown men and several nuns across the room and injuring them in her attacks. One nun said the following about the attack: "No animal had ever made such sounds, neither the lions of East Africa, nor the angry bulls. At times it sounded like a herd of wild beasts orchestrated by Satan had formed a hellish choir." During the exorcism, it was recorded that Clara had levitated 5 feet in the air, both vertically and at another time horizontally. During the height of the 2-day exorcism, Clara had attempted to take out the priest in charge of the exorcism by grabbing his stole and choking him with it. At the end of the 2nd day, the demon was forced out of Clara, who was completely healed and no longer demonstrating any symptoms of demonic possession. Because of the overwhelming evidence of the demonic possession, the details of the case would go on to help set the standard for future exorcisms, to help indicate whether an individual was truly possessed or merely suffering from illness. So what do you make of these cases? Do you think the possessions are real, or can they be explained away as illnesses? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.